I'm very fascinated by the business of coffee, a drink which has been literally taken the world by storm, available in hot variants and cold variants, over 65 different varieties and brews available. Uh, let's just try to understand the whole thing about coffee. Coffee was discovered in Ethiopia in around 4th century BC. I'm not a coffee historian, but I'm just putting my readings together. And there it was a shepherd boy who actually saw his goats eat some berries, some ripe berries, and then the goats used to jump around with a lot of energy. So, and then they, so these people would then what happens is that the Ethiopians they started plucking the berries and then pulping them, crushing them into a pulp, and then having coffee, having the berries whenever they wanted some high energy. It was a very regular kind of typical usage of a intoxicant kind of a thing to get them into a high. From there, this particular um, um, usage of coffee traveled all the way through Europe and landed up then in Arabia. And somewhere in the 16th century in Arabia, the commonly used technique of coffee that we now use, which is of roasting and then brewing, was first found out. Uh, this technique was liked. Coffee was it also made coffee business a lot more scalable because the seeds could be roasted and then they could be kept for a long time and they never got spoiled. So when the business became scalable and the taste was found, that's when coffee grew into popularity. And coffee, the coffee drinking habits really grew in Italy, where the coffee capital of the world is still Milan. And here, people discovered the taste of finest possible coffee. See the way it travels. And now, the single largest coffee company is a company in America, which is Starbucks. Another jump here. So the important thing is that how did this business of coffee, what is this business of coffee? Coffee is a drink which we all know, a lot of us like a lot. We can't do without it. But making a business out of it is a different thing altogether. Something which can be just had in houses. Why would someone pay billions of dollars to companies to just have these drinks? When you look at the business behind coffee, it is definitely something which is far more than $100 billion business. There have been countries like Vietnam which had, as a result of an agreement, um, they had to take off their rice plantations and plant coffee in that. The economy was ravaged, and one of the reasons for helping the economy out, one of the conditions of helping the economy out was to grow more coffee. So when the coffee plantations came up, while rice is a staple, a family can feed on it. A family can't feed on coffee. And as the exchanges determined the rate of coffee, which is a commodity, um, and as and when the rate fell, these families, which earlier could at least eat the rice that they planted, they could not have the coffee. Situation went so bad that over 1/3 of the total acreage in Vietnam which was planted with coffee was uprooted, and then better crops were sowed out there. So coffee is much beyond. It's much beyond. It goes light into the lives of individuals. It goes into the economies. It grows into the um, businesses. So what are the business behind it? Very many. The agriculture side of it. where people are growing coffee. Now here there are fair trade practices and there are not so fair trade practices which are going out. After that is the trading. The seeds, after being plucked, they are sold and the traders come in the big way. After trading are the roasters. These guys, they will roast the seeds in a particular manner and then sell it as a particular unique flavor. And then there is the retailers. That's the coffee retailing places which come in. Now, and in between all of these, there's a lot of training and technology related to coffee which is developing. The business of coffee is a big one. If you try to understand the way this business evolved, the way this business went, and the way this business is being driven today, it is totally it's a global taste, it's a global supply chain, and it's global markets. Every morning when you have a cup of coffee, think about it. Think about the farmers who are growing it. Think about the people who are trading in it. Think about the equipment providers, the people who are constantly working on making finer equipments on it. Think on the roasters. Think about the retailers. Think about the training that you went through, the technology which is there behind, and think about the person who has brewed the cup and brought it to you. Coffee is a very, very global business, and the cup in your hand is a result of that global business. Appreciate that, admire that, and definitely have your sip. But remember, you have one of the finest possible examples of globalization in your hand when you are having your cup of coffee.